Let's look at the input characteristics. The input characteristics of a common emitter configuration are obtained between input current IB and the input voltage VBE with the constant output voltage VCE. The equation to calculate the input resistance Rin is given below, that is Rin equal to VBE by IB, where VCE is kept constant. Let's look at the output characteristics. The output characteristics of common emitter configuration are obtained between the output current IC and the output voltage VCE with the constant input current IB. The equation to calculate the output resistance from this graph is Rout is equal to VCE divided by IC when IB is at constant. It is most probably it is used in the applications of transistor based amplifiers. In this configuration, the emitter current is equal to the sum of the base current and the larger collector current. That is, emitter current IE is equal to collector current plus the base current, that is IC plus IB. We know that the ratio between the collector current and the emitter current gives the current gain alpha, which is in the common base configuration. Similarly, the ratio between the common collector current and the base current gives the current gain beta in the common emitter configuration. Now, let us see the relationship between these two current gains. Current gain alpha is given as IC by IE, current gain beta is given as IC by IB. The collector current IC is equal to alpha times IE, which is nothing but beta times IB. Next, we will look into the common collector configuration. In this configuration, we use the collector terminal as common to both the input as well as the output signals. This configuration is also known as emitter follower configuration because the emitter voltage follows the base voltage. This configuration is mostly used as a buffer. These configurations are widely used in impedance matching applications because of their high input impedance. In this configuration, the input signal is applied between the base and the collector region and the output is taken from the emitter collector region. Here, the input parameters are VBC and IB and the output parameters are VEC and the IE. The voltage gain for this circuit is less than unity, but it has large current gain because the load resistor in this circuit receives both the collector and the base currents. Current gain, that is AI, which is nothing but the output current, or you can call it as the input current. So, we can refer it as AI equal to the emitter current by the base current. So, which is nothing but AI equal to IC plus IB, the whole thing divided by IB. So, finally, we can write this as AI is equal to beta plus 1. The common collector configuration has high input impedance and low output impedance. The input and the output signals are in phase with each other. Here also the emitter current is equal to the sum of the collector current and the base current. Now let us calculate the current gain for this configuration. The current gain of this common collector circuit is denoted with gamma and it is calculated by the formula gamma is equal to delta times IE, the overall divided by delta times IB. This gain is related to CB, current gain, that is beta, and the gain of the common collector circuit is calculated when the beta value is given by gamma is equal to beta plus 1. So, let us look at the input characteristics of CC. The input characteristics of a CC configuration are quite different from the common base and the common emitter configurations because the input voltage VBC is largely dependent and determined by VEC level. Here VEC can be given as VEB plus VBC and VEB can be written as VEC minus VBC. The input characteristics of a common collector configuration are obtained between the inputs current, that is IB, and the input voltage VCB at the constant output voltage VEC. Keep the output VEC at constant at different levels and vary the input voltages VBC for different points and record the IB values for each of the points. Now, using these values, we need to draw a graph between the parameters of VBC and IB at constant VEC. Let us look at the output characteristics. The operation of the common collector circuit is same as that of the common emitter circuit. The output characteristics of a common collector circuit are obtained between the output voltage VEC and the output current IE at constant input current IB. In the operation of common collector circuit, if the base current is 0, then the emitter current also becomes 0. As a result, no current flows through the transistor. If the base current increases, then the transistor operates in the active region and finally reaches to saturation region. So let's look at the relationship between alpha, beta and gamma. When the transistor is connected in any of the three basic configurations such as CE, CB and CC, and then there is a relationship between alpha, beta and gamma. These relationships are as follows. Alpha is equal to beta divided by beta plus 1, beta equal to alpha divided by alpha 1 minus alpha, and gamma equal to beta plus 1. The configurations of the transistor summary. When the transistor is connected in any of the three basic configurations such as CE, CB and CC, then there is a relationship between alpha, beta and gamma. So these relationships are as shown. The table which gives the main characteristics of a transistor in the three configurations is given above. The BJT transistors have mainly three types of configuration. They are common emitter, common base and common collector configurations. Among all these three configurations, common emitter configuration is mostly used type. These three have different characteristics corresponding to both input and output signals. And also these three configurations have very few similarities. In operating modes of a transistor, we have seen that transistor acts as a switch. Now let's see how transistor works as a switch. Transistor switches can be used to switch a low voltage DC device. Example, you can take the example of an LED which we can turn it on and off by using a transistor in its saturated or in its cutoff state. The areas of operation of a transistor switch are known as the saturation region and the cutoff region. This means that when we ignore the operating cue point biasing and the voltage divider circuitry required for the amplification and use the transistor as a switch by driving it back and forth between its fully off, that is nothing but cutoff region, and the fully on, which is nothing but the saturation region, as shown. Let's look into the operating regions. Firstly, the cutoff region. Here the operating conditions of the transistor are 0 input base current IB, 0 output collector current IC and maximum collector voltage VCE, which results in a large depletion layer and no current flowing through the device. Therefore, the transistor is switched fully off, that is cut off. Next, we will look at the cutoff region characteristics. The input and the base are grounded, that is 0 volts. The base to emitter voltage VBE is less than 0.7 volts. Base emitter junction is reverse biased. Base collector junction is reverse biased. Transistor is fully off. No collector current flows, that is IC equal to 0 and V out equal to VCE equal to VCC, which is equal to 1. Transistor operates as an open switch. Next, saturation region. Here the transistor will be biased so that maximum amount of the base current is applied, which results in the maximum collector current resulting in the minimum collector emitter voltage drop, which results in the depletion layer being as small as possible and the maximum current flowing. Therefore, the transistor is switched fully on in the saturation region. Let's look at the saturation region characteristics. The first characteristics here would be the input and the base are connected to VCC. Base emitter voltage VB is greater than 0.7 volts. Base emitter junction is forward biased. Base collector junction is forward biased. Transistor is fully on. The maximum collector current flows. V out is equal to VC equal to 0, which is called as the ideal saturation. Transistor here operates as a closed switch. Then the transistor operates as a single pole single throw, that is we call it as SPST, solid state switch, with a zero signal applied to the base of the transistor. It turns off, acting like an open switch, and zero collector current flows. With a positive signal applied to the base of the transistor, it turns it on, acting like a closed switch, and maximum current, that is the maximum circuit current, flows through the device. Let's look how transistor acts as an amplifier. In the common emitter mode, the transistor acts as an amplifier. Consider a voltage divider biasing circuit, which is commonly known as the single stage transistor amplifier circuit. Basically, the biasing arrangement can be built with two transistors like a potential divider network across the voltage supply. This provides the base voltage to the transistor with their middle point. This type of bias is mainly utilized in the bipolar transistor amplifier circuit design. In this circuit, the entire resistance will be equal to the amount of the two resistors like R1 and R2. The produced voltage levels at the two resistor junction will hold the constant base voltage at a supply voltage. The following formula is the simple voltage divider rule, and it is used to measure the reference voltage. That is nothing but VB is equal to the total voltage VCC into the resistance R2 divided by the total resistance of the circuit, that is R1 plus R2. The similar supply voltage also decides the utmost collector current. As the transistor is activated, that is in the saturation mode, common emitter voltage gain. Common emitter voltage gain is equivalent to the modification within the input voltage ratio to the modification within the amplifier output voltage. Consider Vin and Vout as delta VB and delta VL. In conditions of resistances, the gain of the voltage will be equivalent to the signal resistance ratio within the collector towards the signal resistance within the emitter is given as voltage gain is equal to Vout by Vn, which is nothing but delta VL divided by delta VB, which is nothing but minus RL by RL. By using the above equation, we can simply determine the common emitter circuit voltage gain. We know that bipolar transistor includes very small internal resistance built into their emitter section, that is RE. Whenever the inside emitter resistance will be connected in series by the outside resistance, the customized voltage gain equation is given below. Voltage gain is equal to minus RL completely divided by RE plus capital RE plus small re. The whole resistance in the emitter circuit at low frequency will be equivalent to the amount of inner resistance and the external resistance, that is capital RE plus R small e. For this circuit, the voltage gain at high frequencies as well as low frequencies includes the following. The voltage gain at high frequency is minus RL by RE. The voltage gain at lower frequency is given by minus RL divided by RE plus RE. By using the above formulas, voltage gain can be calculated for the amplifier circuit. We can conclude that a transistor can perform like an amplifier only when it is biased properly. There are several parameters for a good transistor, which includes high gain, high bandwidth, high slew rate, high linearity, high input impedance, high efficiency, and high stability. Like this, there are several more parameters. Now we will move on to an oscillator. First, what is an oscillator? An oscillator is a circuit which produces continuous, repeated, alternating waveforms without any input provided to it. Oscillators are basically convert unidirectional current flow from a DC source into an alternating waveform, which is of the desired frequency, which is as decided by its circuit components. Let's look at the working principle of an oscillator. The basic principle behind the working of an oscillator can be understood by analyzing the behavior of an LC tank circuit, which is shown below, which employs an inductor L and a completely pre-charged capacitor C as its components. Here at the first, the capacitor starts to discharge via the inductor, which results in the conversion of its electrical energy into electromagnetic field, which can be stored in the inductor. Once the capacitor discharges completely, there will be no current flow in the circuit. However, by then the stored electromagnetic field would have generated a back EMF which results in the flow of current through this circuit in the same direction as that of the before. This current flow through the circuit continues until the electromagnetic field collapses, which results in the back conversion of the electromagnetic energy into the electrical form, causing the cycle to repeat again and again. However, now the capacitor would have charged with the opposite polarity, due to which one gets an oscillating waveform as the output. Practically, the oscillators are nothing but the amplifier circuits which are provided with a positive or a regenerative feedback, wherein a part of the output signal is fed back to the input. Here, the amplifier consists of an amplifying active element which can be a transistor or an op-amp, and the back-fed in-phase signal is held responsible to keep up or to sustain the oscillations by making up for the losses in the circuit. Once the power supply is switched on, the oscillations will be initiated in the system due to the electronic noise present in it. This noise signal travels around the loop, gets amplified and converges to a single frequency sine wave very quickly. The expression for the closed loop gain of the oscillator is as shown, where A is the voltage gain of the amplifier and beta is the gain of the feedback network. Here, if A into beta is greater than 1, then the oscillations will increase in the amplitude, while if A into beta is less than 1, then the oscillations will be damped. On the other hand, when A into beta is equal to 1, it leads to the oscillations which are constant amplitude. Coming to the types of oscillator, there are many types of oscillators, but can broadly be classified into two main categories: harmonic oscillators, which is also known as the linear oscillators, and the relaxation oscillators. In a harmonic oscillator, the energy flow is always from the active components to the passive components, and the frequency of the oscillations is decided by the feedback path. Whereas in relaxation oscillator, the energy is exchanged between the active and the passive components, and the frequency of oscillations is determined by the charging and discharging time constants involved in this process. Further, the harmonic oscillators produce low distorted sine wave outputs, while the relaxation oscillators generate non-sinusoidal like sawtooth, triangular or the square waveforms. The main types of oscillators include Wien bridge oscillators, RC phase shift oscillators, Hartley oscillators, voltage controlled oscillators commonly known as the VCOs, Colpitts oscillators, Clap oscillators, crystal oscillators, tuned collector oscillators, gun oscillators, and so on. Oscillators can also be classified into various types depending on the parameters considered, that is, based on the feedback mechanism, the shape of the output waveform, etc. These classification types have been given below. The classification is based on the feedback mechanism, positive feedback oscillators and negative feedback oscillators. Next, we will look into the classification based on the shape of the output waveform. Sine waveform oscillators, square or rectangular wave oscillators, sweep oscillators, etc. We will look into the classification based on the frequency of the output signal. Low frequency oscillators, audio oscillators whose output frequency is in the range of audio range, radio frequency oscillators, and high frequency, very high frequency oscillators, ultra high frequency oscillators. Classification based on the type of frequency control used: RC oscillators, LC oscillators, crystal oscillators which use a quartz crystal to result in a frequency stabilized output waveform. Classification based on the nature of the frequency of the output waveform: fixed frequency oscillators and variable or tunable frequency oscillators. Let's look at the oscillator applications. Oscillators are a cheap and easy way to generate specific frequency of a signal. For an example, an RC oscillator is used to generate a low frequency signal. An LC oscillator is used to generate a high frequency signal, and an op-amp based oscillator is used to generate a stable frequency. The frequency of oscillation can be varied by varying the component value with the potentiometer arrangements. Some common applications of oscillators include quartz watches, which uses a quartz crystal oscillator. It is used in various audio systems and video systems, used in various radio, TV and other communication devices. It is used in computers, metal detectors, stun guns, inverters, ultrasonic and radio frequency application. It is also used to generate clock pulses for microprocessor and microcontrollers. It is used in alarms and buzzers. It is used in metal detectors, stun guns, inverters and ultrasonics. It is also used to operate decorative lights, example the dancing lights.